In addition to being Disney's most recent animated movie, which honors the studio's 100th anniversary with a tribute to that fact and hidden Easter eggs throughout the film, Asha is eager to interview for a job as King Magnifico's apprentice on the Mediterranean island of Roses, but all changes when she finds out he doesn't care to grant wishes or return things to their proper owners. Asha battles Magnifico back with the aid of her pals and a wishing star. Magnifico resolves to utilize the Book of Corrupt Magic to combat Asha and keep his people under control since he is furious that Rose's people would challenge his leadership and the wishing ceremony. Magnifico thinks Roses is in danger if someone rebels against him. With the exception of Simon, who turned on Asha for Magnifico, Asha, Queen Amaya, and her allies want to divert the king's attention in order to sneak into his study and fulfill their desires. But Magnifico foils them, trapping Star inside his staff since he has become completely corrupted by dark magic. Asha begins to sing to inspire people to fight after realizing that everyone is a star. As Magnifico is being drawn into his staff, they manage to stop him by escaping from his powers. Asha receives a magic wand from Star before she departs, and she assumes the role of fairy godmother, fulfilling desires. Over time, King Magnifico became corrupted, but Asha's attempts to grant wishes ultimately caused him to snap. Roses was first made by the monarch to be a safe haven, and he pledged to grant wishes, but Magnifico soon developed a hunger for magic and power. Fearing that it would be taken away, he developed a paranoia, and Magnifico planned to use Star's wish-granting powers for his own gain, knowing that Asha was in control of Star's power. He turned against his people and went to tremendous measures to hold onto the wishes he had stolen. Because of his self-obsession, Magnifico found it intolerable that Asha was outwitting him. As long as he could continue to rule over the Roses people and consolidate his own authority, the monarch didn't give a damn whether he injured them. The next stage in gathering the magic he had kept to himself for so long was to become even more powerful by stealing Star's power, which he probably thought would prevent anyone from ever questioning him again. Magnifico would stop at nothing to accomplish his ambitions, even if it meant betraying his own people in order to maintain their subservience. King Magnifico prioritized his greed over all other considerations and was only thinking about himself. During most of Wish, Queen Amaya supported her husband, though the lyrics to Knowing What I Know Now imply that she eventually turned a blind eye to Magnifico's quest for power and magic. She still believed in Magnifico's desire to do good for the people of Roses. Amaya, the queen, found it difficult to accept that Magnifico would go to such lengths, but she gained fresh perspective on her husband from witnessing his outbursts at those who dared to question his authority and Magnifico's search for Asha. She was unable to continue to ignore his horrible actions or his schemes to gain the upper hand through the use of evil magic. Amaya was compelled by this to oppose Magnifico. He had deviated too far from their path, and he was no longer the man she had come to love. Magnifico had lost interest in assisting Roses, and Amaya was unable to watch in silence while he tore up the people and the kingdom that they had both created. Queen Amaya joined Asha because the rose-colored glasses had taken off forever, and she knew Magnifico would not listen to reason. Asha was eligible to take part in the wishing ceremony at the age of 18, but even though she knew she would forget it, she was not moved to grant Magnifico her desire after learning of his genuine motivations. Instead, Asha wished upon a star, and although she was unaware that Star would materialize to assist in fulfilling her desire, her hope was unique from everyone else's since it was motivated by altruism. Asha's desire for the residents of Roses was sincere and came from the heart. Instead of pleading with King Magnifico to fulfill her wish, she was gazing up into the sky, which made Star the first to notice. Every time someone wished in Roses, they would lose track of what they had wished for. Their hearts would be left with a huge void when King Magnifico gathered the desires and stored them away. Given Magnifico's influence over Roses, it's plausible the monarch used magic to ensure the wishmaker would never be able to access it again. They wouldn't oppose Magnifico's reign or demand that he grant their desires if they couldn't recall what they had wished for. Magnifico gained control over people by wiping out their memories of their wishes. His magic also made sure that people always understood where they belonged without any doubt. Throughout his full life, King Magnifico worked to stop what happened to Roses, his own hamlet. But in the end, he succeeded in manipulating people and enforcing compliance under the pretense of keeping them safe. They finally rebelled against him as a result of this, realizing that a populace under control and kept in the dark could not endure forever. Despite his initial good intentions, Magnifico had virtually turned into everything he despised. No matter how hard Magnifico attempted to stop it, a revolution was inevitable, since he denied the Rose's people the right to follow their own preferences and silence their voices in opposition to his policies. This time, though, he was the adversary that everyone had to be protected against. His deeds contradicted his initial philosophy, demonstrating that unbridled power corrupts even the most virtuous people. At the conclusion of which, King Magnifico used dark magic. After he took that decision, he had no opportunity to go back, restore his reputation, or be cleared of any wrongdoing. Magnifico was ultimately imprisoned by his own magic staff, and even though it appeared that he was free of its power, Queen Amaya nevertheless condemned him to the dungeons. That does not imply, however, that this is King Magnifico's final one. Magnifico might be able to get away from the magic staff in the same way as Star did. Even if the staff is now damaged, there's a chance Magnifico will find a way out and use any hidden power it still has to exact revenge on Asha. If there was any hope of recovering his authority, Magnifico would still have to face the fury of the people of Roses and Asha, who now possessed a magic wand. Disney animations are less likely to feature a Wish sequel than non-existent ones as of this writing. Magnifico may, however, make a comeback if the chance presented itself.